Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Neurodiverging Podcast. My name's Danielle Sullivan, and I'm your host. Building genuine friendships can feel almost impossible, but it does not have to be. So, today I'm going to break down a couple of the common challenges that we face and offer some gentle experiments that you can try out. Nothing too rigid or prescriptive, but just some possibilities to play with. Before we dive in too far, I do want to thank my patrons over at patreon.com/neurodiverging. We patrons come together and use the money that we raise to support neurodivergent folks in our community who need support with coaching. So all of the funds from the Patreon go on into that sliding scale coaching pot over at Neurodiverging Coaching. So we really appreciate you and we thank you for being in our community. I also want to thank our writer, Sophia Kaur, who wrote this article. Thank you so much, Sophia, for your support at Neurodiverging too. So let's start with a place that I think will hit home for most of us, which is the masking marathon. So many of us, especially those of us with invisibilized disabilities, have become expert maskers, and we've learned how to mirror and blend and adjust and hide ourselves in all kinds of social situations. Masking is a survival skill in a world that mostly demands neuroconformity from us. But the thing is that when you're constantly filtering yourself to fit in, it's hard to know if people actually like you or just this curated version of you that you're presenting to them. So here's an experiment that you can do. If the idea of being fully yourself feels overwhelming, especially if you're somebody who, like me when I started unmasking, doesn't know who yourself is, you're not alone. Start with just tiny moments of vulnerability or authenticity. Maybe that's posting honestly in a support group or on our Discord. Maybe it's sharing a meme that actually reflects your sense of humor instead of going with what's safe. Those little moments really add up. And with time, you start to find that the people who see you and who like you for you, and you can connect with them. And yeah, some folks will totally not like you, and some folks fade away. But that can be a sign, honestly, that they weren't really our people to begin with. Going through this challenge of unmasking and deciding if you even should do it or when you should do it or in what places it's safe to do it is a very complex set of behaviors. But when we are not authentic with the people in front of us, we don't give them the opportunity to get to know us. And that can feel very isolating for us. It doesn't serve us and it doesn't serve them. So trying these little steps of unmasking can be the best way forward and can really help you find the people who will be your people. Okay, the next part. Let's talk energy. Socializing can be wildly unpredictable. One day I'm up for everything. I'm scheduling out appointments with a ton of clients. I'm making plans to go see my friends, go to movies, go out and do all the things. And then the next day I'm crashed on the couch and surrounded by little crumbs and weighted blankets and stuffies. So we end up canceling plans last minute. We forget to reply to texts. We don't, even see the texts. We forget that our email boxes exist, and then our shame spiral kicks in. And we start to kick ourselves for all the things we've missed out on. We start to blame ourselves for maybe our friends feeling like we don't care about them or we're not connecting to them. We make up all the stuff in our heads about what the reactions to the people we know will be to the stuff that happened. So instead of all this going on, first of all, working on self-compassion can be a huge step forward. Just recognizing that you are not the only one who has energy challenges and other people deal with this too, and you're not alone and you're not wrong and you're not bad for what is going on for you, but also being upfront with people about your social energy limits and just recognizing ahead of time that, hey, even if today I feel like I can do 27 things this month, that's actually probably not realistic based on my past. And so maybe I need to define some energy limits for myself so that I can actually do the things I want to do, most importantly. So we're not coming from a place of apology or like, oh, I'm so sorry, I just can't, but from a place of care. You can say things like, I'd really love to do this, but I've only got like an hour of energy today. Can I just spend this hour with you? Or I'd really love to do this, but I know that because I'm doing this other thing earlier that week, it's just not going to work for me. Can we try again, next month, right? showing people that you're paying attention and that you care about them and that you're not going to overcommit and then not be able to do that, that kind of behavior, although it's understandable, can harm people more than just saying no up front. So sometimes we got to practice saying no up front, or saying I'd love to, but, and just getting it out there for people. And that way you're setting expectations around what your time and energy management is actually like, but still showing that you care. And still showing those people respect, right, for their planning too. And here's the other thing, you do not have to justify every little thing and every little choice you make. Not every connection, not every person you know deserves a full breakdown of your nervous system and why things happen for you. For the folks who do get it or want to, then you can consider sharing tools like spoon theory, and it can be a helpful way to talk about how you move through the world. I'll put some links down below to other work we've done here at Neurodiverging talking about energy and capacity and how to communicate about that stuff, if you're interested in that as well. Okay, and now let's talk about small talk. Yeah. So Sophia, who wrote this article, is a June Gemini, and I over here, Danielle, am a May Gemini. So if you're, into that, yeah, we can do it. We can small talk your ear off. That said, when we're fried or overstimulated or just done, we're done. We do not want to talk to you anymore about the weather or the flowers or the birds or well, actually, I'll talk about the birds and the flowers all the time, but the weather or the sports team, nope, not for me. And even when we can engage, our processing might lag. For me, my auditory processing lags, and reading social cues starts to feel like, as Sophia says, decoding hieroglyphics with a blindfold on. I love that simile. So if that sounds like you, here are some things you can consider. First, explore nonverbal ways of connecting. Parallel play is a great start. This is when you share activities with another person where talking is optional. So this can be formal stuff like pottery classes, book clubs, but it can also just be having tea and scrolling on your phones together or doing a puzzle. And we talked about this a lot in a past episode too that I'll link down below. And if in person isn't your vibe, online spaces can be amazing. For example, in our Discord community, in our Get Stuff Done body doubling groups, a lot of us don't really talk on voice, though we might be texting and chat sometimes. We're just being together and using that energy together to get stuff done. And some of us are working, but some of us are just hanging out and scrolling on our phones in our PJs. So nonverbal ways of connecting can be so valuable to some of us. I'd also really recommend checking out sites like autistic.com, especially if you're a late identified autistic person of color looking for a space that centers your experience. Autistic is a beautiful community, and Eventbrite and Meetup sometimes have cool hobby-based groups where connection is built through doing and not just talking. You can also check your local libraries depending on where you live. Often they have a ton of stuff going on, or they can hook you up to the local communities in your area. And now we're going to talk about something a little tender, which is that a lot of us have a history of failed relationships and failed friendships, and that can affect our mindset going forward. So it is important to talk about when relationships fizzle or fall away. It's really easy for us to turn inward and assume it's our fault, that we were too much or not enough or not neurotypical enough. We didn't perform right. We didn't do it the right way. And every single time that happens, we're building a story for ourselves sometimes that it's all about us and it's all about us not doing it right. And then we believe that story moving forward and we stop trying to make friends. Similarly, as we have failed experiences in our past, our inner critic, that little shame blame voice inside, who has been through a lot, gets a little bit louder and a little bit stronger. So what we want to encourage is, and this, I just want to say, if this speaks to you, you're so not alone. This is such a big issue with clients that I talk to. Instead of silencing your inner critic, just try getting curious, right? So that shame blame voice is there to protect you and is trying to do its best, but also it's trying to protect you from rejection. What's it trying to shield you from? And is that danger real? Right? So when we approach our inner critic with compassion, instead of just trying to push it down, we can start healing the wound that's underneath. And over time, we shift from how do I fit in or why wasn't I good enough into how do I find relationships that work better for me? in the future. And that can be real magic because the truth is that not every relationship is meant to last forever. Not everyone is going to vibe with us, and that is okay because our goal is not to vibe with everybody. Our goal is to find our people and vibe with them. And sometimes it's a huge group of people, and sometimes it's a small group of people. But we're going to really focus on, instead of trying to make everyone our friend, trying to just find the people who are good fits to us. And that means that when a relationship, quote unquote, fails, it's not actually a failure at all. It's a learning opportunity. When a relationship fails, we can learn, like, oh, actually, maybe this kind of person isn't a good fit for me. Or maybe next time I can try a different communication style. Or maybe next time I actually need somebody who has a different communication style, whatever it is. Right? So failures aren't you being the worst. Failures are information about what hasn't worked in the past. And sometimes they can give us information about the future. Sometimes we don't know why a friendship didn't work out and we don't really get information one way or the other. But that failure doesn't have to be our fault. It can just be a thing that happened and we can move forward from that. The really good relationships and the really good friendships are so worth the wait and so worth the effort. And I just really encourage people not to lose hope about that. Making friends as a neurodivergent adult is absolutely possible. Does it take some creativity? Yeah. Does it take some courage? Absolutely. But you're not broken and you're not alone. And there are people out there who are already wired for connection like you are, who celebrate nuance, who care deeply, and who crave depth. And the key is to keep experimenting until you find what works for you and to not give up. And hey, if you want to practice some of this stuff in community, we've got a space for you. You can join our neurodivergent community on Patreon. We have created a supportive, flexible space for neurodivergent adults to connect in a way that honors how we actually show up in the world. We've got chat threads with other people who just get it through our Discord. We have very gentle virtual hangouts and interest-based groups. It's a space to share tips, get support, celebrate who you are, mask-free. And we have a lot of resources that support your neurodivergent lifestyle, some of which are linked below. Whether you go with neurodiverging or not, you do deserve connection that feels good in your nervous system, and friendships with people who really see you and get you, and a community that holds you up and that you can hold. And that community exists, it is here. So take a step in. So please keep experimenting and keep trying and know that your people are waiting for you. And remember that we are all in this together.